Hello and warm welcome. I'm so happy that you've landed here on this video. This video is all about what is energy weaving. It's kind of a evocative term and it's like, well, what does that even mean? So in this video, I'm going to keep it short and you are welcome to ask me as many questions as you like, but I'm going to answer what does it look like, what does it give you, why that would matter to you, and what you can do with it. Okay, so energy weaving has offshoots and specializations, if you like, but I want to talk about the core of the modality, which is full body energy weaving. Okay, and so energy weaving is an organic movement process that creates a lot of fluidity and energy movement through the body and out of the body and around the body in cast space, usually is how we're using it. And so with this energy flow, once we've got a lot of fluidity and we can channel energy, we can move it really fluidly at our command, at our disposal through our body. We feel it responding immediately. Once we can get the energy flowing and moving, then we learn to direct it, to refine it, to configure it, to shape it, to flavor it, to transform it, and also to build it. So we do a lot with the energy. So we don't just work with the energy that's innate in our bodies at any given point. We also augment and build and raise and refine. So we're working with huge quantities of energy fluidly through and around the body. Okay, now it largely depends on what you bring to any weave at any given time in terms of your mood, your physical body, your energy levels on those days, what it is you want to work on, all of those sorts of things as to what the weave will actually look like. So for some people, it might look like if you're doing a slow flow weave, it might look more like flowing yoga or a moving qigong sequence, usually to music, right? Usually we have sound involved, and you can weave to any music that you like, right? And then other times it looks a lot more like a form of dance, right? Mostly, I would say, for most weavers, I suspect, even if it's a slow dance, it still looks probably like a mixture, a blend of dance and qigong and yoga. But here's the key piece. It is not dance per se. If you think, oh, I can't dance, do not worry. It's actually got nothing except that we're moving, right? Moving to sound. It's actually not dance. There's no choreography. There is no set sequence of moves. You do learn a whole heap of body vocabs, but you're using them organically. This is an internal process, okay? It's not the same as even just dancing around and jamming out in your lounge room, okay? Instead, you are in a dynamic, flowing, working partnership with your somatic body, with energy, and with the divine, okay? So it's actually a lot going on that on the outside might just look like this beautiful flowing dance movements, but you're actually doing, the focus is not on the dance, if that makes any sense. So as you're moving like this, the leadership of the movement, what governs our moves if we don't have choreography, it depends what you're bringing to the weave, okay? You always bring the starting energy for the weave. Even if you're going to change it, you're going to shift your vibration, you're going to move from one emotional state to another, whatever. You bring a starting energy with you, okay? And so that governs the very start of it all. Right? What you bring to the weave starts it. Then you can change it and move with it and do all the other things you want to do with it. But the leadership of the movement at any given moment organically flows between your consciousness, so what your intention is, or maybe you've got your thoughts on really practicing a specific technique that I've recommended you weave, right? So that's a more mental piece, right? Then it will flow naturally over to your somatic body usually. So what is the wisdom of your somatic body? What does it need to come into alignment, to get the flow moving, to heal, to unstick? There's all sorts of things in the somatic, right? So the somatic body moving towards our yes might be the pathway, the next pathway. And then other times the movement is directed or initiated from the energy, from creative life force moving through you. And you'll learn how to do all of this. So if that sounds complicated, it's like this is actually a natural sort of triadic partnership that just flows between the three of you very organically. And the fourth one that we get to is spirit or higher self or divine. So as you get more comfortable with the practice and you're intentionally invoking or bringing in divine energy or higher self into your body in the weave, then sometimes divine and higher self can even guide the movement, right? So that's kind of what it looks like. That's kind of what you could, if you can picture that sort of thing. There is a whole lot of stuff you get given all the, we call them body vocabularies, but different ways that you can focus, different areas where you can tune in to create that fluidity or the unblocking of the system, the refiguring, the expansion, right? That I'm going to talk about in a minute, right? But all of that happens within that sort of organic, intuitive process between who's leading the energy and the movement at any given time. So you can weave whenever you want to. There's no, it's best at this time. You can do it in whatever clothes you happen to be wearing, right? I've done the full gamut from no clothes at all, right through to full snow gear under the Aurora Borealis, which was an amazing experience, right? So you can do the full gamut. You can do whatever you want there. You can weave for just one song, like 3 to 5 minutes. You can weave for 10 or 15 minutes, or you could like weave for an hour. It's really up to you what your intention is and what your purpose is, okay? So you can weave inside in your bedroom by candlelight if you want. You can weave outside in nature, like overlooking the ocean or in the forest. You don't have to, like these are all options. You can just weave in your lounge room. You can weave in your back garden. You can weave pretty much anywhere that you feel relaxed, safe, and comfortable. That's all you need. Okay, you can also weave with your eyes closed or open, and you would learn, I'll teach you when to use both, why you would explore them, when you would use one or the other, and you'll do both. I think a lot of the time at the very beginning of weaving, most weavers like to weave with their eyes closed, and I'll teach you, I usually teach that at the start, and I'll tell you why, and because I want you tuning in, I want you practicing who's leading the movement and exploring all of that, okay? So you can do it eyes open, eyes closed, and you would normally, in most cases, weave with the divine and with Mother Earth present inside cast space with you, or a circle, right? And I teach you how to do all that, right? And so inside that cast space, you have a sense of holy, of sacred, of safety. We really elevate the space. We create a very protective, strong space. We also create an energetic container, which will continue to build and amplify as you're weaving, right? And so that's kind of the broad, what it might look like overall, okay? And what does this give you? Okay, it gives you a lot, I'm not going to lie, and it depends where you come into weaving and what you want to focus on at any given point. And I think this is why weavers continue to weave for so many years and keep consistent at it, keep going, is there's always whatever you want to bring to it is what you choose to bring to it, right? So when I give you all of these things that it gives you, you might be like, whoa, that's like kind of a lot. And a lot of this happens just over time through the weave, right? So the first thing that you're definitely going to notice these things at the beginning, okay? It's really very healing for your somatic body. So I am trained in many somatic and therapeutic modalities, and they are all blended in and incorporated into the magic, into the energy work, right? So I don't focus on them unless we're doing a very specific focal lens on like healing. We might be very focused on slow flow weaving, and we might be really focused on clearing trauma from the body or something. But let's assume that we're not like focused, then the somatics is in there, but you're not, it's just happening, okay? And what's happening is you're going to feel a lot of space opening up in your joints, in the different diaphragms, the somatic diaphragms down the body, okay? As that space opens up, you get much better channeling of your energy. You're going to have releasing and unwinding of muscles and the fascia lines, right? And all of those things are conducting energy through the body, electrical energy, yang energy through the body. We want to actually be able to channel cleanly, smoothly, large quantities of energy with like ease. Right? And to do that, our body wants to be able to just have fluid movement running through it without blocks and jams and creaks and all the rest of it. And so a lot of our stuff, and this isn't just physical, a lot of our emotional stuff, a lot of our gunk and unhealed past gets stored inside the body. Okay, and so as you open up and create a lot of fluidity and movement through the somatic body, you release a lot of stuff, and you release it in this really organic, smooth process rather than it being this sort of gut-wrenching experience. I have had many weavers heal long-standing sort of issues that are going on under the surface in a really joyful way, sometimes not even realizing they're doing it, and they'll just realize in a month or two, oh my God, I'm so over that. I'm just completely, it's gone. I've moved past it, right? And that's because the movement is just moving things that are stuck and stored in the somatic body. You've probably, if you've reached me, you're probably not completely new to personal growth and development. So you've probably worked on things before. Like you've probably mentally created some sort of form of congruence and reframing and all the therapeutic technique. But what you might not have done is just released the discharged from the body, right? This will happen in the weave, okay? You'll also be creating better alignment, better flow, better movement in the body overall. You're also going to get increased blood flow, lymphatic flow. The other thing that happens because of all of the ways that we work with our body in the movement is we intentionally regulate our entire nervous system. It is better for us to work with energy from an embodied position, grounded. And if you've done any of my other classes, my free classes, you know what I'm talking about, right? But to bring our energy down into our body and to move our nervous system state from a sympathetic state, an activated go, go, go state, to a parasympathetic state, which is actually our rest and digest. But it's a better place for us to control the flow of energy, to receive guidance, to do a lot of metaphysical work. We tend to want to move into the parasympathetic. And this is not unique to weaving by any stretch. Most spiritual practice will attempt to move people from sympathetic to parasympathetic, right? Really deep, sometimes even into trance, right? They want you down in that parasympathetic state because that's actually where you have way deeper connection and power to energy, right? So because that's what we're doing when we're weaving, you will continually regulate your nervous system back over and over and over again. And that will bring more regulation, more balance, more resilience, and more flexibility in our systems so that we can remain centered in movement. With things happening around us, we can stay grounded, centered, anchored. We can move in and out of states without getting stuck. All of this happens as a byproduct of being a weaver, right? Now, when you're weaving, you're also doing a heap of other things, and these are some of the more energetics, right? You're also balancing and clearing your chakras, you're ungunking things, you're creating flow and movement, right? You're accelerating any psychological healing work you're doing because I already talked about that, right? We're releasing any of the charge that's being trapped in the body as we're doing the work. We're accelerating the shifts and change that our minds are making when they're making new meaning and new perception. We're accelerating and backing that up through the body and through the energy that we move. So we're able to set new energetic baselines for things, and that speeds up everything that we're doing, right? You're obviously expanding your ability to work with energy Okay, where I'm going to give you a whole new relationship to energy. It's not something abstract. It's going to feel tangible. It's going to feel like substance to you. You're going to feel it moving through your body, in the space around you. As time goes on and you weave more, you will be able to naturally discern and sense the energetics in life, in the scene in front of you, in nature, in the dynamics in relationships, in what's going on at all the base. And you can work then at the foundational energetic level to shift everything, right? The more and more you're in relationship with energy, and it's a natural fluid extension. Now it is for all of us, right? But we've lost some skill set over the millennia, and this is just about coming back to that. Okay, it's a natural, innate extension of ourselves, and it's actually where we want to start the work, right? It's the core, it's the root that we can build up from. Okay, so the other thing that happens is, because we're generating a lot of fluidity and movement through our bodies all the time, we are accelerating our ascensional evolution process, whatever that is personally for you. Okay, you're flushing your body with huge amounts of high vibration energy, a lot of divinity, we're intentionally calling our higher selves into our bodies to weave the energy with us, right? So we are actually accelerating, we're reconfiguring and evolving our energetic systems, our light body forwards into the 5D light body, right? Where we're headed, right? We're just speeding that up intentionally. But when we do that, we're accelerating and we're bringing online spiritual gifts, right? Now, these are already innate in your divine genome. They're yours, right? We're just speeding up the unlocking or accelerating them to a new level of mastery, right? A lot of energetic practitioners who are already working, and there's a lot of them who are weavers, right? Find their modality they already have under their belt takes a massive leap upwards in terms of the potency of the results they're creating, the speed they're creating, the size they're creating, right? So it may just be up leveling your existing gifts, and many times, especially if you're very intentional about it because this is what you really want, you can open up new spiritual gifts, right? You can have them come online. Channeling is a very natural extension to weaving. So you don't have to, but if you're interested in that, you'll find that that is just a natural evolutionary weaving move, okay? So I've mentioned this a little bit. You bring a lot more higher self presence into your body. So one of our essential themes, if what we're doing here in level 1 is trying to make our ascensional process more graceful, easier, right? I'm sure everyone intuitively who's watching this is feeling like, wow, is it really meant to be this gut-wrenchingly hard? Is there meant to be these walls all the time and these blocks and this, like, you know intuitively that the ascensional process is meant to come with a smoother sense of expansion, right? With a little bit more ease. And weaving is the key to unlocking that, right? And one of those ascensional pieces, besides the new evolution of our relationship to energy, right? The new era has a level of energetic mastery in the everyday, in the mainstream. It's not some offshoot thing that you do mystically on the mountain, right? The whole relationship of energy in the day-to-day is going to massively reconfigure. And so the role for the energetic systems is completely different. So our energy bodies are going to evolve and shift and change, right? And we're working towards that consciously with intention here in the weave. The other thing that's going to happen essentially is we're not leaving our bodies. We're not leaving the world of form in this ascensional jump, right? We're not going to non-form. Instead, we're bringing, they say heaven on earth, right? But we're bringing our higher selves into a more embodied state. Instead of feeling like I reach out to higher self, but it's sort of up there somewhere and I can like check in with it. And sometimes I feel a little bit closer, giving me a hug, right? We want it in our bodies. We want to be in this co-creative partnership with it. And you do that in the weave, which means you start to create these accelerated pathways of more and more of your higher self. And when that happens, you expand your central core with more you-ness, more higher self, always present, consistently, you will show up completely differently because you'll be showing up as higher self, right? In so many situations. And not only will you be showing up, but for my sensitive, spongy empath people here, and there's a lot who are weavers, right? As more you-ness comes in and stays in your body and expands out, this is actually the way you create energetic sovereignty. Your you-ness, your divinity, your life force, your magical substance that is you expands and fills the space and fills out. And there's you can't just spongy suck up when you're already full, okay? So you get a lot stronger rather than just constantly trying to put up the boundaries, right? And I understand that. I've had a life of being an empath myself. I've done decades putting up the boundaries, right? This is different. This is like you don't need the boundaries because you're already so full of your own divinity that you can feel the bombardments. And this is not 100%, right? Like there will be times when you might go, whoa, I'm a bit overwhelmed. This is really intense, right? But that is so diminished and it's such a different level because of this, right? Because there's so much more you-ness. So a lot more higher self present, okay? We're also integrating the body and the metaphysical. These are not two camps. There is a fluid extension between the two. You're going to expand your ability to stay centered in movement, right? In this era where we currently are, some people have called it the decade of disruption. Some people have just called it the chaos, the story between the stories, the messy in between, right? This transitional phase between the old and the new, it is a messy period, right? And there is a lot coming at us and there is a lot of energy movement. There's a lot of energy movement in the collective as systems are having to totally break down and rebuild. Like there's a lot of stuff going on there, but there's also a lot of ascensional cosmic energy and the earth is shifting frequencies. So we are in a state of flux and change and metamorphosis. And with that means there is a lot of energy always moving. If you're always can only be centered in stillness, in the traditional, I sit my butt on my mat and I just center and ground in total stillness, then with all the movement at the moment, that is probably not feeling as powerful or as long lasting or sustaining as it used to, right? And so one of the things that we do in the weave is we become used to being extremely grounded and centered, almost like the eye of the storm, in huge volumes of energy moving around us, okay? And that's going to serve in life well outside of the weave. Okay. We also expand, related to that, your capacity to sit comfortably with the big energies that are moving through you and that are coming at you. Okay, so same thing. As we expand out and you get used to holding a large volume of energy and you understand what it feels like in your body, you know it, you get it, you recognize it, you know how to ground it, you know how to release it, you know how to transform it, you know how to work with it. Okay, then you have a lot more capacity to have all of that coming at you without losing center, going into wobble, right? And actually, if you did want to work in some form of service during this transitional period on the planet, in terms of supporting transformation on any level, right, then your ability to work with large volumes of energy is actually required. Okay, because there's a lot of energy. Your clients have to work with a lot of energy in their lives. You have to work with your clients. You actually want to be able to stockpile and hold a huge amount of energy that you're choosing in your light body, right? And these are qualities that you want to hold fields and frequencies for, which is the other thing you're able to do now, right? You'll actually notice when you're holding an invoked energetic state and you have a lot of it in your body, you will, I was going to say stop traffic, that's a bit dramatic, but people will stop and notice. People will turn and look to you. People will speak to you differently. You will notice it. You will be able to calm spaces or inspire spaces. It depends what you're trying to do, but you'll understand innately, are you bringing the energy up or are you bringing the energy down, right? And you can do all of that because your energy body is working just, you have a fluid, extensive like relationship with your energy body, okay? And so related to that, you can change your vibrational state anytime you want. You can change it in probably about 5 minutes, right? You can raise your vibration, you can infuse your vibrational state and your entire cellular structure, which will change how you feel, change how your body relaxes, your body expands, what you resonate in your field, what you broadcast into the world. And of course, that core default frequency will shift you into a different experience of reality, right? It will show up, everything reconfigures around you. You will see, because you're vibrating in that energy, different opportunities, different situations, different internal guidance, different, like the whole thing will be different. You'll not only draw different to you, which you will, right? But you will also see differently. And so to take a little bit of the mysticism out of all this dimensional shifting, right? You're going to shift your vibrational state to a higher state. So you're vibrating faster. You shift from that 3D state, and it will become so clear to you when you're in 3D state. So weavers, we tend to call it Muggleville, right? But that dense, I'm slogging through quicksand today, right? And you can move up into the 5D, where the energy, where the slipstream is faster, where there's flow, where there's ease. That's a natural place for weavers because they go there every time they weave. And the more you send your body and your energy body and your system there, the more it becomes the new default, the new state, right? Okay, so essentially you're building this intimate, known, felt relationship with energy, both in and out of the weave. Okay, you can stockpile a lot of that energy that you raise in the weave. When you weave, you tend to build a huge, potent amount of divine energy. It's beautiful. It's flavored by the qualities that you want. So maybe that's playfulness or joy or love or peace, or you want safety, you want like a cocooning blanket, whatever it is you want. You can build that, right? You intentionally build a large quantity of it in a cast space, and you hold it into your light body, which is even a slightly smaller cast space, right? And so you have these huge amounts of energy. That energy and the movement work that you do together reconfigures your energy body, right? And importantly, that energy is just humming, hanging out in your body. And then you are in a position to do much more potent work with all your metaphysical work, right? Whether you're manifesting or healing or professional transformation, across the board, right? You just have these fuel sources in your body that are huge, okay? So that's what you will do. That's what you will experience in level 1. Okay, so that's when you come, you get initiated as a trainer, as a weaver, and you learn all of the process of weaving. As you start to get all of that under your belt and it feels organic and you get some consistency and it feels flowing, then you can focus your weave for a wide variety of things depending on the circumstance, okay? Some weavers love to do earth keeping, we call it, right? But they love to like charge the chakras of the earth, or like the ley lines, like they like to work in that area. Some of them love to learn to channel, and you can just channel bodies of work, you can channel ascended masters, or you can channel in the Akashic records, like all of those sorts of things. You can learn the mechanics of that, but you have the energetic fluidity and relationship. That fluidity we created in the energetic core, that core is also how the channel enters the body. So you get huge fluid amounts. This is why your intuitive guidance speaks up too, right? That's why everything comes, whoa, right? You're so close to higher self, but your channel is also on, right? So you can do all sorts of channeling work. Obviously, a wide variety of healing work. A lot of weavers who come are professional facilitators or healers in some form. So they just find big leaps in their healing skill set. Some people want to become weavers, so they're not weavers, healers, I'm sorry. So healers, so with weaving under their belt, then it just powers up any modalities they go and choose to train in, right? So the weaving has created the relationship, reconfigured the whole system to work with energy differently at an incredibly different level, right? And it's expanded the amount of fuel in your body, right? So whatever you're channeling that into, you're going to end up with exponentially higher, more potent results as a result of that, right? Okay, you're not guessing. You're not wondering, oh, I don't know, did that work, right? You'll know, you'll feel it. And I'll teach you to feel it also on the ripple back, like you'll feel the work land. I won't get into that now, right? But even as you keep going in this, you can aspect the goddesses, the ascended masters, you can spirit weave, you can alter weave and create energetic packets for other people. You can shadow weave and transform different shadows within you. You might want to focus only on slow flow weaving because you're in a healing phase, and that might be physical, emotional healing, like there's all sorts of things, right? Or you might be really focused on the power weaving, where we're really trying to build a lot of energy for casting work, for projection, right? You can work on your internal systems, or you can work in magic and ritual. And in reality, both of those things happen every weave. You're always, even if you're weaving in a ritual, and I will teach you that, and you will experience all of that during your weaving training, right? So, but you don't always have to weave in ritual. You might just come to the weaving space like you might come to your yoga mat to do the work on the body, to shift on the energy level, right? Without having a big intention for it. But even if you do come to ritual and you have a very clear intention, you want to manifest something, you want to cast something to someone, you want to heal the earth, you want to be in sisterhood with the rest of the weavers when we do a higher service weave for the collective, right? We often get together and send huge amounts of energy for a specific cause, right? So if you're doing that sort of work in ritual, even though you're gathering that energy and you're going to cast, you're going to take all of that energy and direct it very specifically, not just I'm going to let it soak into my body. Even if you're doing that, you still wove, so you still did all the eternal balancing and clearing and fluidity and unsticking, right? All of that I've talked about already, that's happening because you're just weaving. That's just a side effect. And you're going to notice the more you weave, the more glow and radiance state you get going in your entire system. Radiance is the word, right? Those who are going through intense amounts of weaving, we end up with this kind of glow to us across the week or two, right? That we do this daily sort of thing. We've just got so much light in our systems that actually shines through the skin and the eyes. It's pretty amazing, actually. Okay, so energy weaving in its full body form. Now, remember I told you there's lots of specializations and things, but at this first level, you learn the whole how to weave. How do I become a weaver, right? In its full body form, it is the internal arts that builds and raises the fuel and the power under all metaphysical work. If you think of the iceberg, you think about the little tools at the top and the ritual that you want to cast, or the work that you want to do, or the healing session you want to give someone, whatever it is, that's above the water. All of that stuff, that's weaving. Okay, and that big bit under the water, that's what you can funnel into whatever it is that you want to do. And your body has been reconfigured and prepared and to create huge fluid channeling of that energy with direction, with control, with power, right? Like it will respond to you reliably, no doubt about it. It's just an extension of exactly what's going on for you in the way for you, okay? Okay, you can use that. It means you can use weaving in any modalities that you've already got. You can use it in combination with toolkits. I will give you heaps of things that you can try out to do with the energy after you weave. That's not just for you. Like, you will get some experiences of choices of things that you might want to do with it, but know that you can also use it in your tool sets. I will also teach you how to invoke or reignite that energy out of the weave, because you're not always going to be doing your, well, you probably won't be doing your client healing session, for example, in a weave. And some weavers I know, when they're first starting weaving and they feel the incredible amount of energy the huge amounts of energy in the weave, they get really like, oh, I'm going to weave before every client session. And sometimes they do for a while. But you know what? That is not always a sustainable for a professional. That's not always sustainable, even though you might only weave for 5 minutes, right? And you might just start the day with that if you've got a big day of clients, right? But you're not going to do it every single time, right? And sometimes that's just not realistic. So you also need to be able to ignite and cast the energy that you've been stockpiling inside your body outside of the weave. And you want to be able to work with energy outside of the weave. That extension happens as you get more and more familiar with weaving, as you get more weaves under your belt. Okay, it's just kind of the natural extension. Okay, once that light body opens and expands comfortably to be within these new windows of tolerance, and your somatic body feels safe and open and spacious, the energies you can move, right, are huge, and you will feel more. You will feel, not only will you look more radiant, but you'll feel more joyous. There'll be a sense of more aliveness in your body, relief, expansion, love, right? And for some of us, because I've heard it a lot in recent years, you'll feel more like your old self. Like, where did the old self of me go, right? I can't really connect to the level of aliveness that I used to feel. You will now. Part of this is just our energetic systems need to evolve, essentially, okay? They're kind of in a too small box, if you like. Okay, and for a lot of us, because of the way this decade's been going down, we have actually intentionally, especially if we're sensitive, shrunk ourselves a little smaller, right, for safety reasons. Okay, and so all of that means that our energetic system is ready to operate at a different level, but we've got it in a too small a space. When you squish all that down, you cannot get movement and fluidity, you cannot get flow, and you cannot get quantity of like aliveness in your system. So we fix all that, and we bring that new zest, that new life force flowing through you back. Okay, and so then you end up with this outlook in the day that starts with opportunity, possibility, belief, right? Like, so good to be back here again. Okay. And lastly, from this broader perspective, being a weaver, once we reconfigure and evolve and expand your energy body forwards to something that's adapted to, ready for the 5D or new earth operations that we're going to have, the new norm, right? And the energy is understood, then you get to work at that level now. Okay, so you get to experience the 5D way we be now. Okay, now at first you may just have these peak experiences of it inside a weave and go, oh my God, I'm 5D, right? And then you'll get super excited about it, and you might even drop the energy because you get excited. Don't worry, we just pick it back up again. But like, you might just notice it there. But I guarantee you, with a bit of practice, if you keep doing the work, right, and you're with me enough that if you continue to weave, right, you just, this is natural, you'll start to get more and more 5D. Oh, I was in 5D for an hour outside of the weave. Oh, all day. Oh, all week. I just had a whole week, right? Like it will just start to expand out. And you end up with this, weaving allows you at that point, if you choose, to step into the role of a 5D light worker, the 5D empath, the 5D energy practitioner, right? Or facilitator, or whatever it is. But that is you're playing in the new playground at that point with the new operating manual. Okay, and your system is set up to do that. Okay, so we are bringing the energy body consciously there now. We're making the shifts now. Okay, and that's going to smooth the ascensional path, get rid of some of these crazy expansion and contraction roller coasters we're going on. Right, we'll experience ascension just differently, with more of a sense of partnership in the process rather than, oh my God, I'm just getting dragged along trying to mitigate the symptoms as best I can and not drown, right? That's not the optimal. What if instead you got to the point where you could work essentially with the high energies on the planet as a resource, not a liability, a resource, and you were playing or operating energetically at a whole different level? Your experience of ascension would be pretty different. Okay, and I'm not going to make some big ridiculous claim they'll be different all the time, right? Like, you have to ascend, like you have to do this metamorphic process. We are in metamorphosis, every one of us, no one gets out of it, right? But you can do it differently. You can do it as a magical being, or you can do it as a muggle. And I'm telling you, the magical being feels much, much better. Okay. Okay, so this also sets you up, if you choose, to serve on that front wave in the shift, however feels meaningful for you, right? And this is an option, but it's there that you get to choose. You might just be holding fields for your community or your family, but you might also be wanting to, so rather than just soothe spirit near you, you might be wanting to spread out. You might want to teach, you might want to heal, you might want to, I don't know, whatever it is that's meaningful for you. Channel new bodies of work. There's a lot of new bodies of work channeling at the moment. Of course, their new earth modality starting to channel onto the planet. Of course, right? And that's available, right? So you're also joining with weavers, once you do this all over the world, refining and casting energies to support the shift in consciousness of the masses. Partly you do this just by being a weaver for yourself, because you are moving the energies and you're often going to cast them out just because it's like, what do I do with all this energy, right? I don't need this much energy. And you'll just cast it as a gift to the collective. So some of the time you're making the shift just for yourself, but you're still serving. And other times you're going to intentionally join with the sisterhood and you are intentionally going to weave for purpose and cast, right? And then we are very consciously choosing to support the shift that's occurring. Okay, so you get to start living the shift now, both in your energy mastery, in your experiences of reality, and importantly, you'll begin to experience the mystic and magic in the everyday, not just in the small peak experiences that you they're like spontaneous and random and you don't know how to get them back again or control them or predict them. No, I want you to mesh this into this everyday mysticism, this everyday magic. And that's what happens over time as you weave.